Hey, everybody. My name is JP Leonard.
And I'm Tyler Arceneaux.
And you are watching, listening, transcribing.
Braille.
You're brailing down here?
We haven't made it to Braille yet.
It's probably for the best. We look really good in Braille.
I'm way skinnier in Braille.
Yeah, Tyler's got enough bumps you can feel. Oh, boy. What? I don't know. This is We're Dying Down here. Episode
19.
Episode 19. You may know it. It looks different. We changed it up. There's a vent above the stage. It's too loud. So we're like, you know what? We're going to go to the bar. So this is the bar. This is where the...
magic happens.
Yeah, that's where someone pulls a rabbit out of stuff. And
vaginas.
Oh, boy.
That's the intro.
All right.
Episode 19 with...
IAN LARA.
IAN LARA.
The very sexy... Tyler wants to have his baby, IAN LARA.
Yes. Well, I don't want to have his baby. He can have mine if he's into that. I am into allowing him to breastfeed.
I'm still going to lick his eyebrows.
I guess we're keeping this.
And we are here.
Yes.
Still here. Man, this is weird.
I know. It's going to take a minute to get used to this.
I feel all high and mighty.
The people listening aren't going to care, but the people watching are going to be like...
You're like, you guys, you should be on the stage. I'm like, I'm not setting up all those lights.
Yeah, man.
I turn on some bar
Was
stuff.
Was it a practical decision or was it a lazy decision?
Today was lazy.
Right.
No, it was both. It was fueled by the vent. And then I was just like, let's try something new.
Let's shake it up, man.
Yeah, we could change, save the stage for the comedian.
Yeah. Hold the microphones. Let's.
Yeah, this is weird. My arm's gonna cramp up.
I actually like it because I do think one of my problems on our podcast is that I'm always very conscious about the microphone in the stand, and I would much rather be able to do this every now and then.
It's kind of nice. We should get headsets. Just
like Billy Joel.
Yeah. Britney's. Joel.
No, not Billy Joel. Joel Osteen. Billy Joel Osteen.
Billy Joel Osteen. Thank you. That's my wrestling name. What's been up, Tyler? How the hell have you been?
You know what? I've been very well. I've been doing a little bit of comedy, been doing a lot of rest. As I have said over the last few weeks, this tends to be a little bit of my slower season. However, every week I do partake in an open mic, and this week, boy, did we have a special one.
Ooh, do tell.
Yeah, you weren't there, so this is going to be new to your ears as well as the audience. But we had a rare moment. Every now and then somebody does their first comedy open mic, and this just so happened to be some kid. If I had to guess, they may have graduated high school.
Ooh.
Yeah, there was a lot of Como High stuff around that they were wearing, so I don't...
vapes?
So there was a lot of high school paraphernalia that they were wearing, but however, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they did graduate. But this is an all-ages venue. They weren't drinking that I know of. I don't know why I'm really getting into the age of this group.
We don't have to get into
politics. But this is actually a big point because this was my first time doing comedy in front of this many Zoomers at one time.
Zoomers?
And I felt it. And I think a lot of the other comedians at the night felt it too. But this guy lost a fantasy football bet. And so
You lost when you signed up.
Yeah. So he was a young fella, strapping young lad, had a lot of zest, very nervous, this guy.
Gross.
Asked to go last, which was great because that's where we wanted him.
Yeah, because you keep all his dumb friends
Whenever
there.
you bring 45 people to an open mic,
you go last.
Yeah, you go last because
I've learned my mistakes.
Yeah,
I've learned my mistakes. I've even had someone get off the stage their first time. They were like first or second. You know who it is. Shout out Ryan Rogers. But he got off stage as the old poet sidebar and literally had a conversation with 4 friends standing in front of the stage, and
didn't know any better.
And we're like, hey, yo, we gotta stop. But
and then it's like, you may think some of that stuff is obvious, but it's not.
But it's also in the moment too, because you're just like, hey, did you see?
You just got off stage and you're like,
jitters.
But standing room only, bro. He brought the crowd. Our normal regulars were there as well, and we even had some new people that weren't there for him. But he brought, when I say 20 people, I'm not exaggerating. 20 young white people. It was a very white crowd.
All right, call in.
But
boy.
the show was excellent, and I noticed immediately that some of my references weren't landing with them.
You're like, who's refinanced the mortgage?
Like, these are some things I heard that night that they couldn't get. Slipknot, who's that? Jimmy Buffett, never heard of her.
They have to have alcoholic dads or uncles.
Crazy.
But
there was just a lot of stuff, little things like that throughout the night comedians made reference to, and when we're just like immediately, like experienced comedians going, oh yeah, you guys are too young for this.
I hate the kids of today.
But also, it's a weird feeling for me because I've always been the youngest.
Yeah.
Like, when I started, millennials were the youngest generation that were allowed to speak in a microphone. So, but the show was great. Comedians were hot. I started doing this thing every time I host because I don't always host the mic. We bring in guest hosts. But when I host now, I have a You Look Like contest. With all the comedians.
Oh, yeah.
So I will encourage all the comedians to write a You Look Like joke about me or use one that they've written before. No pressure on that. But best You Look Like joke against me of the night gets extra time the following week. But, man, it puts me in a mode where I want to write You Look Like. And I come up with, like, probably 12 to 13 new jokes every night. Damn. Like, not even joking. Like, just trying to think of just
You
going
Look Like jokes,
deep.
yeah.
Just going deep into the brain, trying to figure them out. So it's a lot of fun, good writing exercise. That guy did his best Matt Rife impression.
He just sucked in his cheekbones.
It was right. I mean, it was.
Go through it. Do
right,
it. You're him.
Yeah, okay,
You're him.
I'm him.
You're him times 6.
Oh, this is crazy. Oh, yeah, this is something he definitely said. He goes, I see a lot of familiar faces. A lot of faces I don't ever want to see again, like that possum guy. You know who I'm talking about? I say that? No. All right. Well, there was a possum guy there. A guy who did a joke about a possum. You got to know who I'm talking about.
I know that possum guy. Sorry. I didn't realize you were talking about a comedian. I thought
but he was. So, but then he really went into his act, which was this. Hey, man, what do you do for work? All right, moving on. Hey, man, what do you do for work? Oh, that's crazy. Hey, man, but killing. Without any, because just his energy, the awkwardness of the whole night.
Gotcha.
This was the pinnacle. This was the crest of the whole thing. He got away with saying absolutely no jokes for 5 minutes. Yeah. Every now and then he would be like, how much time do I have? And I would be like, you can get off whenever you want. And John from behind the stage and the microphone was like, no, he signed up for this. You're doing the full time. So John forced him to stay on stage and
5
sit
minutes?
in it. Dude, it was so funny. But it was funny because there's like a minute left and he's like, 1 minute? I have to do this for a whole nother minute. But yeah, it was just one of those magical moments, you know. A lot of times in a situation like that, I'd be rolling my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, well, who's this hack? Well, you know, but this guy, he knew why he was there. He wasn't there because he wanted to take our shine. He wasn't there because he thought he could do the job. He was there because he lost a bet, and it was pretty fun.
He made it fun.
Yeah,
right.
it was pretty
I kind of hope he comes out. You know.
Yeah. It was a very cool kid. Shout out to Reed Bergeron. I don't know if he's 18, so.
I know that name. Well, there's a lot of Reed Bergerons around here, but
maybe.
Nice.
Outside of that, we traveled to Houma together. You came to a guest spot on a show that me and John Bradley Merrifield were headlining.
Daddy got drunk that night.
Yeah, I do remember.
Daddy had a good time.
That was the last time you drank, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Close to it.
Not that that's a problem. Don't make this weird. I just like trying to drop a little more weight.
No, bro, that was after that night.
Well, because
of what you did. No, I don't know.
Look, that dog. No. That Houma show.
Made you quit.
Yeah, y'all were on the show, and y'all were like, "Hey, come take a ride."
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
Isaac's like, "Hey, I'm gonna put you up," and it was light, but it was
It
fun.
was light because there was something else going on in the town.
A free concert for freaking
at the only actual venue in
first
the
responders or 9/11 of Houma. I don't know.
It was a light crowd, but it was fun. Every single time I go to that venue, it was fun.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Isaac.
Yeah, and shout out to that whole Bayou Terrebonne Distilleries.
Yeah.
Great drinks, great alcohol. He gave me a bottle of their new old fashioned mix.
Oh, have you tried it yet?
Yes, I did. It is delightful.
Is that what they make those smoked ones out of?
Yes.
Dude.
Yes. It was really good. And he ended up coming to the show. Well, we'll talk finish about that.
The old-fashioned game?
Yeah, the old-fashioned game. It was a grandpa. He just said the N-word. Old-fashioned.
Oh, he is old-fashioned.
Yeah. Yeah, that show was fun, and then we kind of dropped it on last episode, but we had to do some recon at a place where we have a brand new comedy show.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening November 9th. We went to Michael's Men's Club.
That's right. We were invited.
We were invited, not by the ladies.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler sat down, and this never happened to two dudes on the side of us. I don't know who they were. They just went, I think they were Mexican, right? Yeah, because one of them was like a fat dude, and he goes, dude, yeah, the dudes that opened for Mark Norman. And he saw us
he recognized us from Baton Rouge.
And then the waitress, the waitress, that's what they call them. She comes up, and then she's got to take our order, and the DJ goes, no, they're coming with us, and they took us back to the not the champagne room because we had whiskey.
It was the restaurant that they closed.
It was it was, and then we just drank for free and talked about comedy, and it was the greatest night.
I don't know why I'm so stupid, but I made this mistake. I'm actually glad that we got yanked out of the seats we originally sat in, because whenever I sat down and the server walked up and was like, what would you like to drink? I'm just so used to being like, club soda. I'm not drinking right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend money. And so I said club soda, and she goes, is that going to be cash or card? And I was like, no, you got me.
It's an $8 club soda.
And then I said cash, and when she walked away, we got up and left. And I never talked to her again. So, and then we got free club sodas.
Yeah. So anyway, November
that was fun.
November 9th, Between Two Poles at Michael's Men's Club.
Good lineup.
Yeah.
Good lineup.
The next night, I had two little shows by the name of Tim Meadows, SNL star.
Yeah, wow.
Two full sold out shows here, 300 per show. It was absolutely bonkers. Tim, nicest dude in the world. First show, the crowd was so hot. It was just me, his feature, Megan King. She's out of Dallas.
Only crowd?
Yeah, it was just us. Yeah, we're like Tim. No,
we all laughed the whole time.
So it was me, Megan King. She's out of Dallas, and then Tim. She opens for him a lot. She's a feature, and that first crowd was super hot. Like it was phenomenal. And then second crowd was really good, but they couldn't compare to the first one. But it took him a while to get them going. But great shows. He is the nicest dude, and he is funny as all get out.
That's great.
And he didn't lean on any SNL stuff.
Nice.
At the very end, when he's doing a political joke, which, by the way, the first time I ever saw someone punch left, right, center, and not have any reaction other than people there for a comedy show.
The sign of a master.
Dude, that was crazy. But at the end, he finished his joke with the ladies' man's voice for like 10, 15 seconds, and people lost their shit.
Yeah, because that's what they were waiting for, really.
The whole night. Yeah, but he wasn't like leaning on it. It was great. Yeah, so good. We had a really good hang. And yeah, your dude from Bayou Terrebonne came out, so I got him, put him on the VIP for that. And then
I had somebody tag me in a post about that show they were like, JP, it was so good to see you, and then they tagged me and was like, Tyler, it was nice to hear your voice. And that's because I do the overlay intro that brings you up on stage. And so those people are close friends of mine. They listen to the podcast, shout out. They actually thought I was here.
Oh, nice.
And like hiding somewhere. And I was like, really? You thought that I was here and I just didn't say hello to anybody? I was just back in a closet somewhere.
Just eating a salad. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Eating a salad, yeah. You know me.
Yeah, salad. Tyler. I don't know. So that was great. That was an amazing weekend. Next morning, brought him back to the airport. And then the next week we had adopted dog on a Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather took a nice little dip, not very cool or anything, but it was enough for us to be outside comfortably that night.
It was nice. Fat dudes didn't sweat.
Yeah,
we had a great lineup. We had Houston comics. We had Florida comics.
Dude, it was really I'm using this phrase a lot too much recently, but it was really a who's who of the South.
Yeah,
I mean, this was like you said, Houston, Florida.
New Orleans.
And
here,
it was great.
Yeah, so that was good. We're gonna be back there in November. I think November's the first Wednesday. I think like the night after Election Day. So
y'all got to raise the age of that show.
that's already been done.
Okay,
so
that was the problem.
Well,
not a problem, but the outcome.
Because the so just to let you know, like the venue said we could advertise 14 and up. I went up to the youngest person there who was 14. I told their parents, I was like, this is adult. And he was like, yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah,
we're
good.
okay. It wasn't them. It was someone who I think just happened to stop in and like, hey, we're going to enjoy a show. They didn't see the adult content part, and then they were offended by everything.
It was bad, yeah. But I mean, it was just.
But it was two people.
It was funny because as a comedian, you never forget things like that. A bad review will stick with you forever. So to wake up the next morning, especially after a night where everyone was shaking our hands, telling us how good we did. So, I mean, there was lines of people like grabbing stickers from me.
Let me bring it back to the Tim Meadows show. So again, I mentioned about he did the political stuff. Not a single person got offended. There was only one couple I saw leave. They were the oldest couple here. I don't know, let's say 60s at least. They left. And I was like, well, it is the late show, and he's doing this stuff, wherever. And I posted, how great the show was, and there was a comment like, yeah, if you don't mind someone making fun of your town and your airport. And I was like, do you know he was joking? Like, his whole thing was joking. But they're like, that's why we left early. I'm like, I didn't clap back at this. Like, you didn't leave early. You left at the end of the show when he did his Biden, Kamala Harris, and then when he did the Trump stuff, that's when you left. You didn't leave early. You were here for 95% of the show. You got mad at that. And also, he's joking about the airport. He's like, I can see the plane for baggage claim. You can't. Like, just...
But yeah, it's also just so ridiculous to be upset. It's like those people who got mad at Tom Segura for making fun of Lafayette. What do you think comedy is, people? Yeah. It's not our listeners, thank God.
No,
these aren't the idiots.
There's just some people who don't know and they don't get it. So, that was fun. That weekend, I had to go run Stone versus Drunk versus Sober in Lake Charles. Another great show, fun show. Always have a good time. We had
that was the biggest show.
We had
in LC.
No,
right?
the one before that.
Never mind.
Yeah, but this one was great. But we had the biggest comedian. We had Will Loden on there. So
he's a big boy.
He's out of Houston.
I've seen too much of his ass.
We
recently.
had Lake Charles comedians. We had Tommy T. Ray Bergeron, where the hell he lives. We had
that was a big show.
Yeah, we a lot of shirts. No, we had a good time.
So many X's.
After we went to the casino. I ended up winning like $130, $150.
Oh. You use that to eat Chinese food. I know you.
Yeah, I did. Orange chicken, baby.
I've been to the casino with you. Yeah. I know why you're there.
Had a good time. And then the next week, I ended up going, so on a Tuesday, I was going to see the Comedy Jam, which is coming off of Skank Fest, which was Adam Myers. It was supposed to be Steve Byrne. It's supposed to be Joe DeRosa. So I hit up DeRosa. I'm like, you doing the show? He's like, yes. I'm like, come and hang out. The night before, I'm trying to find sort of ticket link. The people who run the show, it got canceled.
The night before?
The night before, I couldn't cancel my hotel room, so I'm like, well, guess I'm going to go to Comedy Beast. So I messaged the people that run Comedy Beast. Hey, you got a spot for me tomorrow night? No show. We're doing a Comedy Jam. The show's canceled. What? We didn't even... They run a show there. They didn't even know. So anyway, I go do that.
And then it's so hard to get... Like, if you had a canceled show... And then the night before or even the day of, you're trying to start that show back up again, the chances are you're not going to have a good turnout. Yeah. I mean, how do you ramp back up like that?
Anyway, that was okay. I love doing it. So I end of the night, I went to a cigar bar.
Shout out to Amanda G though.
Yeah, and Mallory. They run a great show over there, and it was still fun. I had a good time with comics.
Always.
And then this past weekend had a 3-night run with old Dan St. Germain. So we did the Manship in Baton Rouge. We had Will Merrill and Terrence Delane opening. That was a killer show. It was weird because they didn't have a lot of people, so there were some empty tables. But everyone at that show liked a little bit of something, and it was very funny.
Nice.
Yeah, it was weird. Then we had here the Friday night. It was me, Jacob Guidry, and Drew Gotro. Killer show. So one of the funnest shows we've had here. It was just so fun. Jacob had like 8 of his boys in the front row. One of them we had to kick out.
Really?
Yeah. He got.
I didn't know this.
He got blackout drunk.
Oh no!
And Dan from the stage started yelling at him like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Oh, he was talking. Oh.
And then so I grabbed Jacob and I was like, "Go sit by your buddy." And I was like, "You either gotta get him to be quiet or walk him out." And you could see Jacob trying to struggle. And finally, we walked him out.
Yeah.
We walked him out.
Oh, well, it happens.
Anyway, good time. And then
hey, you know what? People have bounced back from worse.
Yes, but he passed out right in the car, and so Jacob was sending pictures. And then Saturday night went to Lake Charles to go do Dan St. Germain over there at Library Riot. It was Jacob, me, Jay Moody, me, and then Dan. Had a show, and then
the show in Lake Charles was good, I hear.
Yeah, it was a good
crushed.
show. Yeah. You had little pockets of people. Like he started with crowd work, that went slow. When he had material, that was rocking.
Nice.
As soon as you do something political, religious, you lose people.
Yeah, welcome to Louisiana, bub.
I know, and you got
it's tough. We know because we're here, but
when you got a group of chicks and they're yelling out MAGA, it's like, all right, we gotta get out of here, buddy.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's a fun show.
And they tried. No, never mind.
Okay, but
we had a podcast with Dan too, though.
Yes,
Be on the lookout for that.
He'll
one.
be on there. Yeah, we got a couple in the hole. So you're gonna watch this one's IAN LARA, but we've got Mia Jackson and Dan St. Germain coming up. But yeah, that was the recap. Are we ready to get into this interview?
Let's do it.
IAN LARA. All right, we are here. This is gonna be episode number 18. Let's go with that. We just finished a show tonight with comedian IAN LARA, everybody.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for
a
having
good
me.
show. Yeah.
What do you think about the room?
Love it. I mean, I was saying in New York because this is what comics do. Anytime, once you start getting on the road, when you get a room that you've never been to, what you do is you call your road dog and you'll be like, have you done this room? What's it like? You want to know what you're walking into. And when I was asking people, I had done the beer garden before, and that was great. So I knew you guys had a good reputation. But when I asked people in New York, everybody was raving about it. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, I love that room. It's great.
Yeah. The first time we had Joe List, he's like... he goes, yeah, we started asking people, like, you've done that room? And everyone's like, yeah. He goes, then we go to Todd Barry, and like, have you done that room? And if Todd's like, I don't like it, they're like, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
And they went to Todd, and he was like, yeah, I loved it. And they're like, we got to fucking do that room. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
exactly. Todd is one of those guys. Todd, he'll ask you everything, like, how's the hotel? Like, does the toilet, does it flush good? Like, is the water pressure good? Yeah. Todd knows. So, yeah, if Todd likes it, you know it's good.
Oh,
yeah. No, man. So, so that was Beer Garden. So I got hooked up with you because you were doing the Riot. They just kind of started their shows in the infancy because they were doing that podcast and they started taking over that
room. I think I was one of their first
I think so.
Guys, headliners.
Yeah,
so
I
love those guys.
I think it was maybe a Thursday.
The old room before the restructure.
When the stage was still like that covered area. Yeah, we had a killer show, man. It was great. And then I knew of your name from Marc. You know, you opened for Marc a lot.
Yeah, Marc is my guy.
Yeah. And so it's just, and then man, like you really hit it. You had the special on HBO.
Yeah,
and then I've seen you twice when I've been to New York. You know, I didn't want to bother you, but I was just there in last month.
Yeah,
in June. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, it's coming. Whatever. But yeah. So how's things been for you?
Things have been good, man. Things have been good. You gotta. This is a weird business where you gotta remind yourself to be grateful for all the things because that's all you really get.
Yeah.
Tyler says this about all our shows because, like, the name of this podcast is We're Down Here, and it's basically about us being stuck in Louisiana, a non-comedy market, trying to survive in comedy.
Yeah.
And every now and then he's like, you realize we're like when we just got to finish, we did a weekend with Marc, and then we did some headlining dates in Florida, and he's like, you realize there's a lot of people who don't get to do this. And we're just small little crawfish down here.
Yeah, Not only that, most people are dying down somewhere, and they don't get this.
Right,
so you're like in the 1% of small markets where you get to do this.
I think somebody came on our podcast and said this once, but essentially this has stuck with me for months, and it's just like come to grips with the fact that you've kind of already made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, because almost every comedian who has been doing this for any amount of time is further than the majority of the comedians who have tried. So it's like a lot of times you just have to kind of
overwhelming majority.
Too. Not get comfortable and stop working. Not get lackadaisical in your art. Always get better at your craft. But this idea of hurry up and make it doesn't exist here.
Yeah, and it never gets better.
Yeah,
no matter what you're playing, no matter what the room is, it never gets better. It's always. I heard Mulaney say this in a podcast one time where he was like, he thought that it would get, like he had a goal, which I think if I'm not mistaken, his goal was just to be able to sell theaters, which is a super ambitious goal.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Super ambitious goal. Anybody who gets into this thinking that they're going to sell theaters is kind of crazy. But obviously he achieved past that. But he was like, his goal was to do theater. He got to a point where he was doing theaters, right? And then he said, then somebody told him that he was like, wait till you could sell out a theater on a Tuesday, where you don't have to do it on Saturdays. And he was like, I got to sell on Tuesday. And then he set out on a Tuesday. And then he was at the Cellar, he said, and Rock was there. And Rock was like, wait till you could
Chris?
do Chris Rock.
Chris
Rock.
make sure.
And he was like, wait till you could sell out an arena on a Tuesday. And he was like, now I got to sell arenas on Tuesday. And then I'm sure when you do that, it's like, wait till you add in multiple shows. It never ends. It never ends. I mean, if I look back at the accomplishments that I've done right now, when I was a new comic, I would have been like, I made it. That is it. Like, there's nothing more. But the goalpost just moves, and you kind of just, which is good. Is a good aspect of it. You should be striving to be better. And
I think a lot of people get hooked up, like making it is like being one of the tops. It's like, no, like making it is be able to do comedy multiple nights and sustain, almost like if you get to the point where you're replacing your day job with comedy, you fucking made it. I mean, to me,
that's our current dream.
Yeah,
like that's like the.
I'll do a theater or two.
Yeah,
but we're lucky,
like
that's
that.
fine. Yeah.
Every now and then we get the call,
dude. I think it's important in this business. You gotta like, not even on some arrogant or cocky stuff, but you got to remind yourself of like the accomplishments, because it's so easy to just get down on yourself no matter what you've done. Like, I constantly have to remind myself, like, you're saying, like, you made it. You have a special on HBO that'll live there forever.
That's fucking bonkers.
I get to do the Tonight Show pretty much when I have a set for them. Like, that's insane. Like, to go, I mean, I'm from New York City and I started in New York City, which is like that stand-up capital. But when I started, I knew nothing about stand-up. To go from like absolutely show up to open mic, I knew what stand-up was and I had my favorites and I watched it. I mean, I knew nothing about the path. To go, I showed up thinking that I would be discovered and would be the biggest thing, as most people do. Because if you know the path, you probably wouldn't do it, which makes sense.
No, that's a good point. There's a lot of delusionalists.
You have to be a little bit.
Yeah, because like some people just think, I'm going to do this. You know, I share with Tyler, I can't tell you how many times I get, hey man, I want to do comedy. I'm like, okay, man, well, here's open mics. And then I get this. What if I'm too good to do open mics? And I'm just like,
what can you do with that?
There's not like therapy. I don't
you can end the conversation.
It's like,
because you know that person won't make it.
A little delusion is needed, but too much delusion is very hurtful.
It's very hurtful, yes.
Because other people start seeing that, and people don't forget how delusional you were.
100%, and it has to be a subtle delusion. But I say, to go back to think, when I first started, I showed up to an open mic at Broadway Comedy Club in New York City, which is still there. Rest in peace, Al Martin, who's the owner of that club. He owned Broadway Comedy Club and New York Comedy Club at the time. I showed up not knowing the path at all, and to go there and to reach a point where like now I'm in New York, I could perform at all the top clubs. Whenever I put in the veils, I get spots, and I have I could go on the Tonight Show, like and perform stand up. Whenever I have a set for them, I can submit it, and they'll be like, "Come on, that's amazing." But then I'm also like a road comic who does the road, and then you go places and like tickets aren't selling, and people, you don't want people to lose money on you, or that this is a business for everyone, and that makes you feel shitty too about it. So it's kind of like finding a balance of being like, oh, I have made it, but I still have room to go.
I mean, you still get that no matter who you are. Sometimes it just doesn't work. It's just a weird thing. When did you start? What year?
2011, really. But 2011, I did my first set. But I would say 2012, I started officially like May 20.
Nice. Okay.
21st of 2000.
Creeping on 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna be coming up on 15 years soon. Next couple years.
We're both about the same time.
Yeah, you. 2011. Yeah, because it's 2024.
No, but
now.
let's say 2012, because I did.
So
I spent the
13,
summer where I did 10 sets.
Yeah.
Then I took a year off to the next summer.
Okay.
So let's say 2012. So what? 14?
Yeah, close. Yeah.
13 years. This May, right?
Least,
I say 13 in May. 14 years. Yeah, wow. 14.
That's crazy, right?
From like literally just no nothing. I knew nothing.
Yeah. So we're both at round 10. But that's with for the longest, we had one open mic a week.
It's a slow 10.
So
methodical. 10.
I like to say one year in New York is worth 7 here. It's
if
like
you,
dog
if you
years.
if you
Yeah.
hustling though.
Yeah.
Not everyone hustling.
But like here, we have to go.
Yeah.
You know, besides we have 2 mics now running here, so we're really banging it. But like, you have to go an hour one way for open mic, 2 hours another
brutal.
hour.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and so it's really like, you know, if you, other than the shows that, you know, I'm running here or showcases, it's you've got to travel for it, which is kind of
Yeah, it is. It sucks, but you know, the industry or the business, it doesn't care. It has this weird thing of like, it doesn't care about what you have to do. It's just like, this is what you have to do.
I'm inspired right now by like the Chad Daniels, Sam Talent, Ali Sadiqs, who are just living where they want to live.
It's a lot of people like that.
And
those guys you name,
hard.
those guys you name, especially because there's those guys, and then there's a group of people who have got it off TikTok.
Yeah.
But they're not like those
They're not
guys.
headliners.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
respected headliners with hours upon hours of respected material. So those guys you named, 100%.
Yeah, totally. What was so you started in New York. You born and raised in New York?
Born and raised, yeah. I was
Nice.
born in Brooklyn, and I moved out to Queens.
Yeah.
Go Mets.
So when you started comedy, when was your first like big show where you're like, oh shit, like this could be my path, like opening for someone or even a headline and set?
The one where it could be my path, I mean, I think I never got like the big show like that early on. I was kind of like, I had small wins. When you're a young comic, especially in a city like New York, when you're a young comic, I think that what keeps you going in New York is hard to get on the big show. There's so many great comedians. Like, why would they pick you? Like, for them to pick you, all the other guys have to not be available.
Right.
So it takes like a perfect, like they just won't pick you. But in New York is a weird city where in New York, having somebody like Mark Norman tell you that you're funny,
Never
that
heard of
can
him,
keep
by the
you
way.
going
Sorry.
for like 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, just
No.
that.
Yeah.
That I had more of that than like doing a big show that like I'm on. It's more just like no. And Norman for me, he's like one of those guys that was.
Yeah.
When probably like 2015, 2016. That's when I started like being able to host at the Stand Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was like a poppin' club.
Yeah.
Is now, and at that time it was like the new poppin' club. And having somebody like Norman just be like, you're funny, that kept me going. It wasn't really the show. It was more, it was more that.
Yeah, no, I feel, because like that's my relationship with Norman too, because like I met him, like I brought him here, maybe
but
like
he doesn't say you're funny. He says you're gay.
it's the same thing.
That's better.
It's really. If you called me a Jew, I'd be Bert Kreischer.
I wish
right
he
now,
called me gay.
Well, it's time. I'll text him. No, like, so I met him, like I booked him like 2018 or whatever, and then I remember like kind of coming out of COVID, he's like, come do these shows in New Orleans with me. I'm like, but you know all these New Orleans comics.
Yeah.
Like, to me in a hit, I didn't want to give it up, but I was like, okay, I'll go do it. It's that kind of thing. And then we just had that, like I've done a couple weekends with him, like theaters, and we just did that last month, you know, in July, and it was like, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
we
it's
did.
great,
We
you know?
did the River Center here, and then the Sanger in Pensacola was like 1,500 people both shows.
Yeah.
Norman, like,
crazy.
I don't want to, because he hates it, but Norman is like my guy when it comes to that. Like, I remember opening for Norman in maybe 2017, 2018. I remember like driving to the gig, talking to Norman. Like, at that time, what I was complaining about was, I'm like, because at that time Norman was doing Conan, or he would do like a late night set every few months. And at that time, I had 0 credits, and I was like, how do you break in to like get the credits? Like, that was my complaint. And his complaint was like, I want to sell tickets. Like, I want to be like a ticket seller. Like, it was just 2 of us, like, what do we got to do? Like, how do we break through this like maze that we can't find an end to it? And like he told me, he was like, once you get the first thing, it kind of becomes like if you get the first thing and you knock it out the park, it becomes a domino effect where you get respect and then you get it easier. And then me watching him go from like doing shows like Tonight to doing theaters, like that is all the motivation you need to like keep going in this business and just be funny and do the thing. Like, I literally saw the path of him like become who he is now.
We've got gigs from opening for him because people see you and that association. As long as you bring it, you kill it, and then it's like it just leads to other stuff. And I get it.
I got the Tonight Show from that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did not. No.
And he also like like for me, I don't know, because everybody is sometimes. I feel like sometimes you find somebody, you treat somebody, you respect somebody, so you treat them differently than how you would treat other people. Sure. So other people's opinion won't be what this person has, and they think that you're whatever, but it's not that I'm whatever. It's that I didn't respect you like that, so I didn't treat you that way. But for me, like, I remember Norman literally taught me like how to be a headliner. And I was the kind of, I'm a comedy nerd. So I was the kind of guy, when I was opening for him, I wasn't like doing my set and at the bar drink. I was doing my set and watching him every set,
and
watching him.
He'll talk with you. That's the best.
Yeah. Yes.
Because there's so many headliners we open for, even if they're nice, great guys, they don't want to talk shop. They're probably jaded and sick of it. Norman,
he'll talk shop.
Car rides, we're working on jokes.
Oh, talking
awesome.
shop.
He's like about to puke in the back seat, hung over, and he's like, "What about this?
What about this?"
And we're just like, "Oh, okay."
Talking shop, talking the business. Not only that, like I remember like opening for him, featuring for him, and just it bring me on the road the next night, going to lunch. Like and the lunch, and he pays for lunch because he's the headliner, and now I pay that forward. Like if I'm when I'm on the road with my feature, when my openers, whoever opens for me, when I'm on the road, they're always so shocked about like some of the stuff, and I don't do anything crazy.
Dude, I
like,
fantasize about being that person for other people.
Dude, I don't do anything crazy. I'm like, we go to Raising Cane's. Yeah, I'll get your $10 chicken tender order.
Toast? Oh my god!
Like I know you're not making a ton of money. I'll get this order for you. And I do that for people, and they're like so shocked because they're used to dealing with shitty headliners. But like he taught me, like, you pay it forward. At the end of the day, you get to a level where there's nothing you can do except pay it forward and help the next generation, because you know that this is not like a forever thing. You go through your phases and you pass through the thing, but you pay it forward. You want your reputation to be like, oh yeah, this was a person who was helpful and who helped the industry and who helped the art form and helped the business.
Yeah, no, totally. What kind of going through? Who were your, like when you started? What made you start? Who were your comedians you looked up to?
I remember when I started, when I was 18, my girlfriend at the time took me to see Chris Rock film "Kill the Messenger" at the Apollo, which was an HBO special.
Chris is top 2.
It's kind of insane to say that, like, I have a special on HBO too. Like, that's mind blowing. Yeah. Mind blowing. But she took me. We sat last row. Her ticket. I mean, we were college kids, whatever. Yeah. She bought me tickets. It was last row. I think I tipped the bouncer like $20. He moved us up to like pretty close up. And watching him, he had no opener. It was DJ. It was Dougie Fresh opening for him, and then he came out and just did the set. And just watching that, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like watching that, and then watching 2,000 people just laugh and follow your word and follow your story and just be invested. And since then, I was like a funny kid in high school and junior high school, whatever. And since then, I was like, I want to give this a try.
Yeah.
Since then.
My story is the exact opposite. I went to an open mic, and I saw somebody, and I was like, I'm already better than these hacks.
Yeah.
I even knew the verbiage. I called them hacks. I was like,
For me, I've always been a fan of comedy, and I did music for comedy. So I would finish a gig, drive an hour, 2 hours back, and all I listened to was stand-up. But I grew up on stand-up. Like my parents didn't PG anything, so Richard Pryor Live on Sunset Strip to all that to you name it.
For me, there's one special is Jamie Foxx. I Might Need Security. This is like a nice special. Came out like 97. This came out like 97. I remember watching that with my brother, and just watching. My brother's like a big laugher. Watching like the joy, like how joyful he was from laughing at it. Like I knew that there was like a thing here, like in laughter. Especially with the stuff that I've went through in the past couple years, like losing my mom and stuff, I've learned, like, to me, there's nothing above laughter in life. Yeah. Like, that's the number one thing to me.
I said it here at the end of the night, like, comedy's the best thing in the world. Like, what do you get to do that you just get to laugh? And, like, you get caught up in, like, oh, this set wasn't this or whatever, but there's still people laughing at you, and it's you on stage saying whatever stupid stuff you say, and you get that feedback, and it's like, that's the greatest thing in the world,
I mean, just after this show, I was standing outside. I was standing outside the room, and this couple was an older white lady and a white guy. They were sitting right
Center,
there.
yeah,
I mean,
gotcha,
sitting right in
yeah.
the center. They came up to me and they was like, they literally asked me, they were like, I had such a good time tonight. Like,
Yeah.
that was such a great show. She was like, but the room, it was like 20 people, 25, whatever,
Right.
the amount of people in the room. She was like, how do you, like, you performed like it was for so many people. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, like, pretend that there's so many people? And I was like, I wasn't even pretending. I just respect this. Like,
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out
You
to
have to
this.
do that.
You guys,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't.
You have, man. I hate when people get up there. And
So my biggest pet peeve.
You can have jokes about how the crowd's like. That's fine, but to start turning it around on the crowd, it
No,
just shows
yeah.
a lack of experience, a lack of respect for the art.
It's
Yeah.
honestly gross.
Yeah, it is bad.
It's gross.
That's what I did. I was like, hey, thank you for coming out. It's our 8th sold out show tonight.
yeah,
like
yeah.
just
It's
stupid
okay
stuff.
to make
Yeah,
fun
I
of
make
it.
fun
Because
of them,
You
but
acknowledge it, but you still bring it because
Energy, baby.
I think a lot of comedians, if you forget that you have the audience is who you have to please.
Right.
Because
People,
if
I mean,
not-
comedians forget that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah.
They're
For the
so
back of the room.
they're so
Yeah.
self-indulgent sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even the back of the room. Sometimes just themselves.
themselves, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so self-indulgent. I mean, I told her, I was like, I've performed for this. I've also performed in theaters, 5,000, 10,000 people. I've performed in those. There's no difference in the act that you saw.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the same show.
Yeah.
They get the same exact show.
Yeah.
Minus the little jokes on the room that I had early on. Other than that, same show. I'm like, you guys came out to this. Like, how could I not? Like,
Yeah.
sure, there's not 300 people here, but you're here.
Yeah,
You have
exactly,
lives.
yeah.
You have things, and you came out to this.
Yep.
How
And-
can I not give you a show?
And this crowd tonight was so
Yeah, they were
into
here.
it.
Small but
That's
mighty.
great.
I mean, what more can you ask for out of 25, 30 people? Like,
Yeah,
that's-
I've been very lucky where I think the people that watch my stuff, because I'm not popular enough where like I go to a city and everyone knows me. It's a lot of promoting, like the club promotes.
Yeah.
They'll post my clips and people watch these. People go on YouTube, they'll YouTube your name. Let's see if we like this comedian. And the people that YouTube me and find me and decide to go to a show across the country, I always get this from clubs, host, feature. Everyone always says they're just such good, like they just came out to have a good time
Yeah,
and
exactly.
watch comedy. Like
Yeah.
they're not crowd work people. Like
Yeah.
not
Well, it's
just
because
say
you have an act.
right.
You can go watch your act. And you
You're
can see
right.
clips from
You're
your
also
act.
not. You're
Yeah.
non-threatening too.
Yeah, which I
it's
think
just
that
straight
helps.
up, yeah.
I think that helps. Like because
Especially the old white people around here.
dude, I have a pretty big white audience, and sometimes I play some clubs that are known to be more black clubs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it'll be like even at the black club, it'll be like maybe like 25% white audience, and the black club will be like, this is the most white people we've ever got. And I'm
We
like,
don't even know what to do
and
here.
I'm like,
Yeah.
because I
We're
just
out
have,
of Bud Light.
Where's all the ultra?
I have a lot of mainstream. I have done a lot of mainstream credits, and
Yeah.
then when you watch, if you Google this guy's coming and you watch a Tonight Show set, it's
Right. It's a
relatable
big
to
deal.
anyone.
Yeah,
You don't. It
exactly.
doesn't matter your race. It's relatable
That's
to
the
anyone.
best thing about those clean 4-minute, 5-minute sets.
Yeah, that
It's
is
good stuff.
it does help a lot.
Yeah,
It does help
which is
in
kinda
that
cool.
sense. Like people just keep Googling and they keep coming and it grows. I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful. Comedy's been my full-time job since COVID, basically since before COVID,
Yeah, yeah.
2019, since I did the Tonight Show the first time, and it's been a slow climb, but I'm always reminded to be grateful for it. It's always the slow climb. It's always better.
Yeah.
It's always better. Like doing these rooms, it's always better in the long run, no matter what you turn out to be. You turn out next time you come to Louisiana, you're doing the Smoothie King Arena.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like having people be like, no, but I saw this kid at
Yeah,
this point
exactly.
and it was great and he deserved it. That's so much better than the latter.
I
Not the latter,
have
but
two
the-
comedians I use, for example. My very first show, when I decided to start like making Lafayette comedy, very first show we booked was Tom Segura.
Yes.
We sold out 175 people
Yeah,
in a
hookah
room
lounge.
that should have held 125.
A hookah lounge.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's how I started. And then September of that year, we had Nate Bargatze. We had maybe 40,
Little-known comedian.
40, yeah.
The last time I did the Tonight Show, he was the other guest.
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
I've been,
remember
I've
that,
been
yeah,
and
yeah.
Nate's from New York, and I've been
Yeah.
a Nate fan since before. I've been a Nate fan when you booked him.
Yeah, so I booked him. We had maybe 45 people, and I learned an early lesson. Like I lost ass on that show, but like I was booking a comedian, but I was a comedy nerd, so I knew who he was. I knew what he can do. The nicest dude in the world, and then he was just here 4 or 5 months ago, and he sold 8,000 tickets at the Cajun Dome.
Dome.
Cajun Dome,
Yeah.
yeah. And like
I
the
see him do
evolution
that.
to that is staggering, you know,
Insane.
and that's why I tell people, like, you never know. But I mean, like back in the day, even having Mark, you know, we had, you know, I don't know how many people we had for the first show to now look what he's at.
Yeah,
But,
and
you know,
if you're
it's
promoting,
even good when it's slower though too.
Yeah.
Because like Sean Patton is like slow build.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Sean did like a 10-person room here, then like a 100-person room here. Then this last time it was almost 200.
Yeah.
So like that slow build is kind of interesting to watch too.
that slow build is interesting, and from the promoter's aspect of it, I'm like, if you book a dude who's like a good dude, because there's a lot of shitty people in this business, in every business, a lot of shitty
let's
people.
name them. No, go ahead. Sorry.
If you book like a good dude, it's like you never really, it's not a loss. You never take a loss because the good dude remembers that.
Yeah.
100%.
He remembers like that you came through here and the promoter might have took a loss on you. So
Yeah.
it's like when he ends up doing the 8,000 seat, you know what venue, even if it's something as small as like giving you tickets,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
tickets are now worth more than you paid him that
right.
night,
Yeah.
right?
No
He
doubt.
give you
Yeah,
front row tickets. Front row tickets to Nate Bargatze's $300.
Yeah.
It's more than he might have been making that night.
I'll put it in perspective. Nate opened his show was like shouting out Lafayette comedy and doing comedy here, and it's like, y'all have a great comedy scene here. And then like I'm
been
sitting
almost
there
10 years
with my
since he was here.
I'm sitting there with my
You
kid.
couldn't pay for that.
No,
No.
and then my phone blows up while I'm
That's,
there, and I
that's
just like
better
turned it off. It was
advertising
like,
than any Facebook ad.
Dude,
Yes.
if you were to like think about this, if you were to hit up a headliner who was gonna play that arena, 8,000 seat arena, and you told them, "Hey, give my club a shout out," they might, if they did it, they might charge you $20,000.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like you don't take a loss.
Yeah.
Like if like comedians remember that. If they're good,
Yeah.
the good people, they remember that. So as a promoter, sometimes it's like, oh, you gotta, you know, eat it at the thing.
Yeah.
But if you trust in the talent and you believe that they can reach the next thing, it's never a loss. You
Yeah.
end up getting it
Yeah.
10 times. more.
for me, it's not about the money. It's about like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's going on with the night.
Yeah,
when
it's
you
more
have slow
embarrassing that
shows,
there's
it's
just
like,
not bodies here.
Well, somebody
Yeah.
told me outside, which I had heard this before. Somebody told me outside, they was like, today was the first day of school.
for a lot of people.
For a
I
lot of
guess.
people.
I think for college is kicking up. Like elementary, this is
What was
like,
a parent was like,
public school. Well, they're probably private. They're white.
Yeah.
But like public schools, it's like really week 2. So it's not
Yeah.
even two
Okay,
full
Still
weeks.
early though. Yeah.
so yeah, so
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah,
that
exactly,
affects it.
yeah.
On a weekday, they was like, we wanted to, they came out, they were like, we want to come out, but on a weekday, it's so difficult
Yeah.
here.
It's probably
like,
them Catholic kids.
Yeah.
You know how they are.
Who do you think is underrated in comedy right now?
Oh man,
Or who are your bangers? Like when you watch them, you're like, this is the best.
I'm more interested in the ones who no one's talking about that you think.
Yeah,
should.
Yeah.
I mean, in New York City, New York City is the city of underrateds. Like, if you go to
Totally.
the Comedy Cellar, whenever they announce a name that you recognize, everyone gets so excited. But I'm like, get excited for the name you don't recognize,
Yeah.
because those are the guys that are hungry and giving your A stuff. But in New York City, so many. I'm gonna forget people, but I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. Jordan Fisher. I don't know if you know Jordan Fisher, but done the Tonight Show a bunch of times. He was a writer on the Tonight Show. He's great. Caitlin Palufo.
Of course.
I remember when
Our
Caitlin
first guest.
started.
Our first
First podcast.
Yeah.
I remember when Caitlin started. Caitlin's like a couple, maybe 2 years under me. So we kind of came up together. We came up together through the same open mics.
Yeah,
She
mentioned you as a contemporary whenever we asked her.
Oh, did she? Yeah. It's the same open mic.
Yeah.
She was. I mean, I think I'm ahead of her, but no, I'm joking.
You know
No,
how women be lying.
yeah,
Yeah,
women
yeah.
be lying. No, love Caitlin always, and it's so funny because I always say this now. Like in hindsight, I see this after being almost 14 years in the game. I'm like, if you go back to open mics when I in 2012, like the people you saw at the open mics that you were like, this is gonna be a comedian. Those are the people who are comedians.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like Caitlin Palufo. You saw her in
tell,
2012,
yeah.
2014 or wherever when she started. You would be like, yeah, she's gonna be a comic, and
Yeah.
she is. She's killing it.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's Reggie Conquest. There's another
yeah.
New York comic. So funny. Amina Amani. So funny. It's just like New York is just the city of like
So much. Yeah.
just so fucking
I was
funny.
just there in June, meeting another New Orleans comic, and we got like, I did a spot at the Stand, New York Comedy Club, I did Gotham, and then we had like some great shows like Don't Tell, and I'm on shows with people, I'm like, that's so and so. Like I just try not to nerd out. It's just like play it cool, but it's like it's such a beast. But like here, the only comedians you get are coming directly here. Over there, that's their playground. That's like them going to an open mic here. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna go do a set over here, and it's like, but you are so and so, and like I know all your albums. And
Yeah.
It's just,
to be honest, in the rare occasions when that happens to me, where I have like another comic nerd out about me, to me I never look at it like I always think that's so cool because I'm a comedy nerd, and I was nerding out about people who are now my contemporary. I was nerding out about Norman, about Joe List, about Sam Morrell, about Roy Wood Jr., and now they're like my friends, my contemporary. Yeah. So it's like I'm like, oh, it's cool. Like that lets me know like I'm doing something right because I'm on the path. I'm on the path that they follow. Yeah. That's those are the people like really in New York who I kind of be like, because the game changed from when I started. When I started, there was no such thing as you can ask somebody how long you've been together, and all of a sudden you're selling out 6 shows at every improv in the country. So that wasn't the game. I come from the school of like Morrell, List, Norman, where it's like you do the thing for years, you pound the late night, you get your stuff out there, you build, and eventually it'll crescendo, and you reach a point where you're able to like. That's the school I come from. So it's like when I have people like be like, "Oh man, like I've seen your stuff," I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like I'm on the right path. I'm following the path of these guys."
So this is something Tyler brings up a lot. Would you? And I don't want to ask you a question, but you ask it a lot. Like, would you have gotten in comedy if you knew all the other work you have to do other than stand up? Like, stand up on stage, that's one thing. Yeah. The clips, the cutting everything, and staying on social media.
If I would have known that my life would be what it is now, like I would have the freedom and experiences that I've gotten now to travel the world and travel the States and be all that stuff, yes. But without knowing that I would get that, I don't know if I would have.
Yeah.
Because I was pre-law. I was going to go be a lawyer.
Oh, nice.
That's where the little bit of delusion is good, though, right?
Right.
Is that just in the beginning, in order to even do it a second time,
yes,
you have to have some amount of delusion.
Yes. I didn't know, I didn't know it would be this much level of hard, where I thought that the hard part was getting a Tonight Show spot or getting HBO. That's the hard spot. Once you do that, you're a meteor. Not true. Once you do that, another hard part comes up.
Because that game has changed. There's no more Carson, where like you do this and then boom, you've got movies and TV shows.
But even that, I've learned this, the Carson narrative that people think that you used to go on Carson and become famous. I've learned this from speaking to like comics. It's not true. They were like, even then, no one was going on Carson and becoming famous one night. It was like people would do Carson 5, 6 times. And on like the 6th time, you'd become a household name. The first time, people would know you through because there was 10 million people watching, so people would know you when you walked through an airport.
And you had 2 channels.
People would know you when you walked through an airport. But the notion that you would go on Carson once and just become a household name, I heard that's not true. That they would do it. You had to kill multiple times.
Yeah. And now it's the shift. It's like, now what podcast you're doing? That's the...
I don't know. I mean... I've heard this, and I'm starting to agree with it. I don't know if I mean, there's no podcast that's going to make you famous anymore. Yeah, there was
not anymore. There's
Rogan
like Rogan pop for a while, but
that's not what it was.
Mark told us that that's not even what it is anymore.
No, that's not what it is anymore. And the clips, I think, are on its way out.
Yeah.
So I
hope so.
Me too.
We're trying to
as a person who posts the clips, I hope so too.
But I always say that like, I have to participate and not be obsessed. Because it's easy to be like,
for sure,
to get obsessed.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
What's next? What if it goes back to email mailing list?
Colin Quinn said this one time. He didn't even tell me. I just heard somebody told me that he said it, and I was like, man, this is true. He was like, this was like when the clip things was taking off. He was like, every few years, he's like, the algorithm is not new in comedy. Every few years, there's an algorithm. There's a thing that people are now doing to get to the top. He's like, in 30 plus years of doing this, the only thing that solidifies you is being good on stage. He's like, there used to be other things. There was a time where you were an alt guy and they were selling every ticket. There was a time where like the soap opera guys were selling or going on tour and selling out every room. He's like, the algorithm is not new. This notion of algorithm itself is new, but the notion of comics who are not, and I say this respectfully because I respect what they've been able to build, but comics who, and they know themselves, who are not headliners, and I say you're not because you've never headlined, so you're not a headliner, getting to the top and taking over, that doesn't last.
This comes up on our podcast all the time, but Kill Tony. They prop up, like, we're watching people get booked that don't have 10, 20 minutes. and they're
10
being
minutes,
booked.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
don't have
that's
10 and they're
what it
being
is.
booked for 40.
Because look,
and it's like it's hard not to be a hater.
Look,
I mean, props to those who succeed.
yeah.
It's great, but we know people who've booked some people who've been on Kill Tony thinking like this, and they may sell because they got good things, but they don't have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I'll say this to all those. I've never watched an episode of Kill Tony, so but I know what it is. Obviously, I know what they do. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to all the dudes
100%.
who's gone out to open mics to now selling out rooms. But I will say this, as a person who's never watched it, but I tour. I'm on the road every weekend. I play clubs all over the country. I've never seen all the clubs in the country come to one consensus as much as I've seen them come to the consensus that booking those guys, they're never ready for the hour to do the hour.
Yeah.
That's what the clubs say.
Yeah.
I've never seen
that
it.
actually makes me feel better.
I think a lot of them are funny. I watch them and I'm like, I'm funny.
Sure.
And it's no knock to them. It's not a personal thing. It just takes time.
Yeah.
It just takes time. But I don't knock them because I'm like, if I was 3 years in and I could now sell out a weekend at an improv, I'm gonna say no to that.
Yeah.
I was
no,
at
hell
3 years
yeah.
in, I had a day job.
Yeah.
Take it. Just
Never
keep
knock the
working.
comedians.
No, just keep working
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
get, it just takes time. That's what it is.
It's the same with, I get a lot of like agents hit me up like, hey, so-and-so, he's got this many followers on Instagram and TikTok, and it's just a dude doing a face filter. And I'm like,
It's like I don't want him on my stage.
What is
even
that
if he's
gonna
got
do?
people
Yeah.
in
Right.
here.
Well, you
and-
have integrity as like the room. A lot of clubs, and again, I don't even knock the club because they just try and keep the lights on. So
Yeah,
whatever. But the clubs don't. They don't. They'll book them.
it's whatever's hot. That's
they'll
why they
book 'em.
book porn stars to headline for a week.
They'll book them, and then I'll come in the next week, and I won't sell. And they'll be like, "That was some of the worst shows we've ever seen."
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing that probably actually bothers me, because like you said, you can't knock the people, but like I do wish that the producers of Kill Tony and they weren't like propping it up to be something it's not, because they do make it seem like, oh, this is great for comedy. We're giving young comedians their chance, and I'm like, no, you're making a show. It's entertainment.
I think you get a delusion when you're in it. I don't think that they have bad intentions.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
I agree.
100%.
I don't,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just think that when you're in it, you just believe, like you drink your own
Yeah.
Kool-Aid. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you just
Makes
believe
sense.
it. You don't, and in reality, if you break it down, they are making open micers a lot of money. They're taking guys from open mics to making $200,000-300K a year.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it's
Crazy, yeah.
so it's hard. Yeah. So it's hard to be like that. You're not a do-gooder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people don't. I mean, some people. I know some comics don't go on it, like Burr or whatever, because they're like, well, I'm not gonna go shit on a new comic that's trying to make it. But their argument is like, but that new comic is gonna go on then to make. So I get both arguments of it.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Whatever.
Like, yeah, if you, it's you have the responsibility as a comedian. If you get on there and you get that pop, you have to do the work. And if you don't, you'll feel it.
You'll
you know?
fizzle
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm like above or better than anyone. I think if I were given those I'm thankful that I wasn't given those, because if I was given those opportunities, I might have went down some of the same paths
Burnt out,
that
maybe
they
even.
have.
Yeah.
now.
Who knows if you
I
do
you're just
your-
not
yeah.
ready. Like I'm 13 years in. Like how in the world can if I think about when I was 3 years in, like doing this room full.
Yeah.
At 3
A lot
years in,
harder.
it's just so hard.
Yeah.
You have to do this room like you did it tonight.
Yeah.
So when it's full, do it in your sleep.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the way comedy works. You perform for 25 people and rock it out for them. So when it's 2,500, you're like, I can
easy.
do this. I don't even have to stretch
Bro.
to do this.
Yeah.
That's an experience that me and him had opening for Marc in Shreveport. We just, that was our first time being in front of that many people, and we were both backstage going, that was easy, right?
Yeah.
And it's
I was on
you did all
stage-
the work to get here.
I remember I was on stage and I called it like I was like Chris Rock. I covered that whole stage. I usually stand in one
He
spot.
just stands in one
I'm
spot
walking and
normally.
I'm like, calling people the
N-word?
No, I didn't say that.
I was kind of figuring out where that was going to go.
I was like, you cracker ass crackers. But I was like in the middle of the set. I went like, oh, I can do this for a living. This would be great. But it's like,
you have this thought while you're doing a set.
but it's like you got part A, you got part B, part C. What's in the middle? And it's like, how do you get there for yourself? And it's
Oh,
it's just it's crazy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. sometimes when I've been lucky enough to play those type of rooms, people just be like, "You're not nervous," and I'm like, "How can I be nervous?" When you made 17 people laugh in a 300 seat room, you kind of feel like you can do like you now. How can I not out of 3,000? I could make maybe 600 of them laugh.
Yeah, you get 1,000 people laugh at a joke.
That's
it's
enough.
amazing.
That's enough. Yeah. But that's the way I think comedy works. To those people, look, I've been a new comic. I've been a eager, ambitious young comic who feels like their time is now. This is part of the game. We've all been there. In hindsight, as a more senior guy, I can now say that I was lucky that it did not happen. It allowed me to develop in a different way that would not have been allowed if I were given those things early on. And early on, I would have took them.
Yeah.
That's a very insightful take.
Yeah, I mean, but look, nothing's gonna change. Like, I could sit a young comic down right now and tell them that, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna still take it." And I'm like, "I get it. I would have took it. I would have took it too." But this is just what it is. No one's path is the same. You just kind of figure out your path. But for those people who got those, like, who get those, like, 3 years in, get those things, I think the path turns out being harder.
Yeah.
It turns out being harder.
Maybe more demoralizing too, because it's like you're facing adversity. That's a different type of adversity than you would if you were going through the mic system or something.
Well, it's hard for like a young comic. As a young comic, your path should always be climbing.
Right.
It's hard to just be at the thing and fall as a young comic. That's difficult. You're not prepared for that. I'm prepared for it. How can it? Like I've done these rooms.
Exactly.
If worst case scenario, I'll just go back to the rooms that I've done.
Yeah.
But if your start is 350 people. And then you see the down, you're like, what is happening? That's a pretty panicky.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. All right. Well, first of all, I know we're going late, but thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. Thank you for having me in the room. I really appreciate it.
It's great, man. We were big fans. Again, you were mentioned on our first podcast, you know,
I
with,
may or
with
may
Caitlin.
not have said, like, we were riffing and he talked about
I remember that. I saw that. No,
I said you had good eyebrows.
told
I
me
was
that.
like, I want to breastfeed him.
Yeah.
We almost ended the podcast there. Like, that was it.
I think Caitlin sent me that podcast. Yeah. I remember that. That was hilarious. Yeah.
So where can everyone find you? Just anything
you
plugs?
can find me at IAN LARA Live on Instagram, IANLARALive.com. I have a special on HBO. It's called Romantic Comedy. My Comedy Central half hour is on YouTube. It's called Growing Shame. And all my Tonight Show sets, they're on YouTube. Bunch of sets on YouTube. Bunch of stand-up on Instagram. I got my podcast. It's called the Adulthood Podcast. Check me out if you're inclined.
Absolutely, man. Killer, man. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you for having me, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm going to go get some Raisin Canes.
And we are back.
IAN LARA's the best.
Sexy
I don't
man.
remember the episode, but I know we had a lot of comedy philosophy talk.
Yeah.
We talked about Kill Tony. I'm sure there's going to be some hot takes on there. Because I remember I was in my anti-Kill Tony phase for a couple weeks where I was trying to talk to everybody I could.
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't want to say anything.
I was like, it sucks, right? Kill Tony's, but I don't actually feel that way. It's just, I am starting to get this feeling that Kill Tony used to be one thing and now it's just very much so not. It's like, it is not about lifting up comedians. And I don't like that they act like it is.
It depends, because there's some that are popping. Like you got, what's his name? The little, the dude.
Pete Cortez?
Ari,
Ari Mattis?
Mattis, yeah. Like, that's someone that he sees, then they popped him, and he is exploded. But again, I put this back on the people who get on that show and the producers that book these people thinking that they can run a show. You know,
it's not the fault. Yeah, I don't mean to put any kind of blame on Tony or the producers or the comedians at all. They're all trying to make a show, and it's a good, popular show. I'm pretty sure they're going to get a Netflix deal or something one day.
It's the people. It's the aftermath of that, and it's but if you're getting someone who they were on there, of course, they're gonna get followers. But if they haven't been doing comedy, a few, more than a year or two, what are you doing? So
and I am coming from a place of jealousy when I bitch about this. Make no mistakes about it. I understand that, but it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me.
Yeah, no. So that was a good episode. Ian's recording his special, and he is going to be coming back in 2025. So he wants to set up something in Baton Rouge and try to route some other things. So we're definitely going to do that. So
Fuck yeah. Hell
Oh.
yeah. Also, Ian was our first African-American guest, right?
I wasn't keeping track. but
I was. I've
just
been waiting.
assumed-
I message Jason every week. When are we going to get a black guy on? I think inclusion is important.
Look, we started this podcast with a lady comic.
That's true. That's
but
true.
let me get ready for next episode. It's gonna be a black lady.
Dude,
Mia
Kamala Harris
Jackson.
is... Oh.
But she won't return my call, so all right.
Derailed.
Yeah.
Wait,
That-
what's that sound?
That's the sound of me dying inside. But it's also Hackwatch.
Hackwatch. Oh, man. You want to start?
Yeah.
All right.
Let me start it. All right. My Hackwatch. This episode 19, is I don't want to call it etiquette. I'm gonna call it comedian stage ability, style, presence, and mechanics. So
Okay.
this is a microphone, right?
This is...
All right. We're comedians. You don't hold it like this and act like you or
Sucking a
in the
dick.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Either way, all right? You also don't have
Oh, yeah.
to
Don't cup... You're right. When you say... I know what you mean. Like somebody
Cup
who
it
is...
like- yeah,
Right.
like this.
Exactly. Like
You
a rock
also-
star or a rapper or somebody. You don't want to do that.
this also you watch the whole watch a show, watch where people are holding it, listen to the sound. Therefore, you don't have to put it, and I don't want to talk, but you don't have to like
No.
yell into it.
Right.
Emo Phillips has a joke that was done here. It's one of my favorite jokes. I don't understand it to this day, but it's the funniest. But he says, and I'm going to substitute cell phone with microphone, but he says, a cell phone's a lot like a dog's nipples. You don't have to yell at them to make them work.
What? I mean, I know why you're saying...
Yeah, so just...
I know why you're
so,
saying it, but also what?
in the spirit of Emo Phillips, a microphone is a lot like a dog's nipples. You don't have to yell into them to make them work.
It's true.
They work,
Yeah.
right?
They're going to produce milk.
Anyway, so...
They taste good in my mouth.
Yeah, so, and if you're coming from a background, it's not your first time doing comedy if you're on a book show, but just knowing that and listening to that, because you don't have, here, well, my new systems would be set up. I can control everything wirelessly through an iPad and an app and everything. Because when you have multiple comedians, you want to set that up.
Yeah.
But there's a thing called a gain level. And you usually set the gain level where it's good for everyone. I can still bring up that volume. But when you get on there and you start swallowing it, I can't change that gain level, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just the mechanics. Like, one, knowing where to stand. Knowing what to do, mic stand. I'm not even worried about that. Like, if you're not going to use the mic stand, move it out the way.
Yeah.
But like knowing what a stool is, knowing where the lights are on the stage. If the lights are shining in one section,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I got
Don't
a good,
leave the spotlight.
Yeah, I got a good wash on the
Yeah.
stage, so you can move around. It's a big stage. But like at your open mic, well, y'all got that spotlight. It would be like you just walk over to where John's
Right.
at, try to do a set.
Yeah, those are... And look, there's... comedy's a lot like a golf swing. There's so many different little things
And
that
it's mostly
you have
white.
to, that you have to remember, white men, that you have to remember with your swing that like it's almost impossible to do it every time, which is why it's so hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I understand that a lot of the things we're talking about might seem obvious to somebody who's not doing comedy, but when you're just worried about getting your jokes out, you're not thinking about things like the spotlight. But it's so important
yeah.
to not be standing in the dark while you're trying to deliver material, because
But take
it will not
all
work.
that aside, the first thing you should do is know how to hold a mic
And talking to it,
and
yeah.
talking to it. That's the thing. Now, we have a certain comedian in a wheelchair. I know I adjust for him because I know he has physical disability, so it's hard for him. So I'm
Lazy.
Don, you're lazy. But I bought my new system for not just Don. That'd be
For
weird. Yeah. No, but for like it gave me a reason to go, okay, I need to, because I have it where some people are too loud and some people are too soft. So I need to adjust it. But that was one where like, oh, I can do that rather than jumping on stage at this venue.
Yeah.
But I needed it because I can control so much more. And it's just, whatever. But like, yeah, if you're just a normal comedian, no microphone presence. And also, you can hear the freaking speakers. You can hear how distorted it gets.
Yeah.
And it's not, and here, the speakers are on the audience. They're not on the stage. So imagine how uncomfortable it is for the audience too, you know? And then I'm trying to post, you know, when you try to do videos or edit things down, or, you know, that's why I always watch the levels on this podcast, because if someone's too much, I'm constantly having, you know, doing that. So that's my hack watch.
I want to keep going on this.
All right, let's go.
I think that some of the real nuances about what we're talking about are important too. So like, you can talk normal and hold the microphone close to your face.
Yeah.
And you can talk loud and hold the microphone farther from your face. There are some things you cannot do, though. You cannot talk low and hold the microphone far from your face.
Yeah.
And you cannot cup the mic. When you cup the microphone with your hand, you create this like reverberating sound that is even worse than just the loud distortion.
And sometimes you get feedback because it's sound and it bounces off things. So like Josh Watts, huge piece of crap. I hate him so much. But he yells a lot during his set, but he does this.
Yeah.
And then does
exactly.
It. But you can still it picks up a little sound.
It's experience.
Picks up the sound down here. But yeah, he knows how to do that. There's other comedians who do that. That works, but you just can't eat a microphone and you can't cup it. And it just
I've tried eating a microphone when I was real hungry and it just came out weird.
Anyway, by the way, you owe me $80 for a microphone. So stop putting ranch.
That was yours?
Stop putting ranch on the microphone.
Stop leaving food in my car.
This is not a noodle. All right, sorry.
Yet.
All right, that's my hack watch. Which you got.
All right. That was fun. All right, my hack watch is stop doing crowd work when you're not ready. I think that now that I do understand that if you want to do crowd work and incorporate that into your act, you have to try it somewhere.
Yeah.
However, I see people trying to do crowd work like they see online, and they haven't even got the basics of comedy down yet.
So let me interject real quick.
Sure.
So I kind of go back to it's not even. I'm gonna tie this into crowd work. I have a phrase. I'm sure other people have it. When people start comedy, you can tell who the Stanhopers are.
That's right.
All right? Because Doug Stanhope is a master. He can get up there and make it seem like he's just talking about what's on his mind.
Yeah.
He has that skill. He's been doing comedy 30-something years. He has a bag of tricks. Ian Bagg got up here.
Also has a bag of tricks.
He's got many. And he made it seem like the whole show was crowd work.
Right.
But you got to understand, like, those people who do, like, crowd work specials, your Todd Berries and so forth, even Big J, they've got a bag of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for people that you can tie into jokes.
Absolutely.
First time I had Dan St. Germain, I was like, what do you want to light at? He's like 16 and 45. And I'm like,
What?
Because he does 20 minutes of crowd work up top.
Okay.
But also, you're flexing those muscles too. But if someone says something like, hey, and, you know, I don't know, Skeet, you know, hey, you've got a joke you can tie into
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So it's people. I think the perception is that, people just get up there and are so flawless they can do whatever. It's like, no, you got to have that experience. I try crowd work when someone says something to me or it's in the moment and I can start a little conversation, but I'm not instigating it.
Right.
Yeah. So
I've got a couple parts of my act that I dedicate to asking the audience questions, and I don't even do it every time.
Yeah.
I just do it when I'm comfortable and we have a good room. And I'm not saying everybody has to be like me. Some people are going to be looser. Some people are going to be tighter. You know, everybody's been in a vagina. We all know. But look, this is...
Pause there for a sponsor. Big thanks to our sponsor, Ounce of Hope Aquaponic Cannabis Company. Ounce of Hope provides high-quality CBD and Delta-8 through an advanced aquaponics system for the utmost in quality products. Check them out at ounceofhope.com. All right, go ahead.
Which sponsor was that?
I don't know. All three of them.
Do you think it's Lucia that wants to go in on the vagina tag?
They're like, dude, it's just a croissant, bro. All right. All right. Voice.
But
all right.
my general point is it's okay to want to try crowd work, but honestly, get your foundations first. Doing crowd work as a new comedian is very much so like trying to build your windows before the walls are built.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, what are you doing? We don't need to pick crown molding until
From the windows to the walls. Okay, sorry.
Hey, this is Skeet all over the place. It's great. This is going to be fun for some people who know us well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I think that I would like to see some newer comedians get their footing and get comfortable on stage before they're inviting the audience to ruin their set.
Yeah.
When their sets aren't even that good to begin with. So, you know, Hackwatch, man.
Hackwatch.
Always hacky. Want to give a big shout out and thanks to our sponsor, Gator Custom Graphics. They are a local full-service sign shop specializing in banners, wide format printing, and vehicle graphics. From your business card to your storefront, Gator has your sign and printing needs covered. Check them out at GatorCustomGraphics.com. What's next, Rex? You start.
It is time for Rex. My rec this episode is a past three-time Club 337 comedian. One of my favorites, Sarah Tolomash, her new special, Butthole Money. It is great. One, if you've never seen Sarah, she's one of the driest comedians. She moisturizes, but she's a dry comedian on stage, and it's very unique to watch that in her, and it's very dry delivery, but it is so freaking funny. And this special was done like maybe a couple weeks before she gave birth to her first child, her and Joe List, and she's big and pregnant, wearing a dress, a great little backdrop, and it's a wonderful special. I loved her last special, was great, Voluptuous Boy, which was great, but this one is definitely worth watching. You can watch it on YouTube. Sarah Tolomash, Tolemache. I hope I spelled that right. Butthole Money. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally have never wished that Sarah Tolomash didn't make it off of a plane before to take my spot on anything. My mom did love her that night, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom loves Sarah. I do, too. Sarah's great. My rec this week is going to be a TV series.
Ooh.
That is on FX and Hulu, and it is called English Teacher, starring Brian Jordan Alvarez and friend of the podcast, Sean Paton.
Sean Paton?
When I tell you this might be, it's between Tires and this, I don't think sitcom TV has been this funny in a long time.
So let me interject here. Sean Patton is one of those comedians that we're like, why is he not the biggest? I think we talked about it with him on this podcast.
He's in my top 5 now.
Yeah. And he's had so many things. He's done so much. You know, he had the special Michael Che produced, all this stuff. And we're just like, when is going to be the next thing that pops him? We need him to pop. We're hoping it's this. It's an amazing series.
He's in the top billed cast. Like, he's top 3 on this cast. When I tell you, all right, so it's like I'm not gonna give much away, but it's mainly centers around this gay high school teacher, and who's trying to like navigate his way through this version of wokeness, right? He has a lot of ideals. He's trying to like instill them upon the kids, and they fight back, and they go real hard in one direction. And Sean Patton plays almost the antithesis of him. Like, but also not in a bad way. Like, not the antagonist, but the antithesis. Like,
it's like he comes off as he plays the coach, and he comes off and he fits it well. He's got the coach jacket, the belly, the whistle. He comes off as like, he looks like a very right-wing person, but his personality, but then his thoughts are on the opposite side.
Well,
and he's like so considerate. He's just a good. Yeah,
that's what I love about it, is that it really highlights the gray in a lot of these areas. Because the truth is at the end of the day, most people are trying to do good. Not everyone, but most people are trying to do good, and we all just need to learn. It's a very funny show. It's enlightening. It's lighthearted. It is incredible. English Teacher, FX Hulu. New episodes coming out weekly right now.
And since we talk about Sean Paton, let's just put this out there. December 27th here at Club 237 and December 28th at Rally Cat Brewing.
Jeez.
You can get those tickets at LafayetteComedies.com.
I'll have to talk to the producer about getting on that show.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How many people? I already know your inbox is full.
Yeah.
As soon as you release that first.
There's people that just send me random messages like, "Hey, can I be on that show?" I'm like, "I didn't even announce a show." Like, all right,
they're
fine.
like, "Oh, they don't even specify." We're just like, "Hey, let me get on that show."
Like, which one? Okay.
All right. Rex, man, that was it.
That's Rex.
All right, dates. We're ready for dates. This will not be out this Friday, but we will. I think we should go ahead and talk about this anyway.
Yeah.
Daddy and I are going to see Dan Soder this weekend, which is a big deal. I love Dan. He's one of my top favorite comedians. Never seen him live before. Super excited. And we're going to get on some Houston shows after that.
The Riot and Seeker group.
Absolutely. So. Let's see. What I really want to talk about, though, is the Michael show on November 9th, Between Two Poles. We're going to do something, man. I have a good feeling about it. We're going to do comedy. I have a good feeling about it.
We got me, you, Mike Honore,
yes,
Drew Gotro, Brock White Lyons, John Merrifield.
I noticed there's no women on the show.
There's going to be women there, but
maybe next time.
I hinted at one of our comedians like, hey, you know, and they didn't bite. So
yeah, well, next time.
We'll see. Yeah.
The next week, I will be going to Austin, Texas, and I'm taking the fabulous Ken Edwards with me. I'll be doing a set at Altercation Fest. Not sure when yet, but I also have other dates and things lined up in Austin while I'm there. I'm going to be at Pinballs on November 15th, the Friday. Then I'm going to be making my way to Houston to do a weekend of shows there.
Yeah.
You know what? Just go to my website, thetylara.com. All my dates, all my tickets, links to all my socials, The Tyler A on everything.
Cool.
That's good with me.
All right, so we got the week that this comes out, Friday, October 18th, we got the Kill Tony, speaking of, the Kill Tony Golden Ticket winners, Rick Diaz, Heath Cords, and Enrique Chacon. I don't know how to say it like that.
Chacon. He is the worst. You are the worst at pronouncing any
Enrique
ethnicity. There's no way it's Chacon. There's no way that he pronounces his last name like my papa says pecan. There is no way.
We'll see. Bring him out. Thursday, October 24th, we got Mike Eaton all the way from Austin.
Hell yeah.
You know him from Skankfest, Roast Battle. He's going to be here on a Thursday. That Friday night, the 25th, we got Wait What? Isaac Cozell, Jeffrey Gaucher.
One of the best shows you can see, bro.
Comedy Drinking Game. We got a killer lineup. The next night, Saturday, October 26th, Stone versus Drunk versus Sober here. We got 3 shows in a row. It's going to be banging. November 1st, we're bringing Stone versus Drunk back to Rally Cap. And then November 2nd, the next night, we are bringing Stone versus Drunk versus Sober to the Covington Country Club. That's right. Me and Josh Watts put that together. You can buy a ticket for the show. You can buy a ticket and a dinner, which is going to be good.
I'm sad I had to say no to that one. I'm jealous because I love doing Stone Drunk Sober on the road. I think it's the funnest thing to go take it to a new crowd and show them what's up.
Yeah,
and I'm sad
I'm excited.
I'm going to be doing soccer instead.
Well, you know what happened on the last episode. Wednesday, November 6th, the night after elections, if the world's still standing.
That's my birthday.
We're going to do the 6th?
Yeah.
All right, well, you should come out to Adopted Dog Brewing.
I have a show that night, too.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mention it because I didn't put it on my calendar yet.
Oh, that's fine. Hair of the Dog Comedy Night back at, and it's 17 plus is our recommendation. Of course, the 14-year-old is going to be mad, but I'm going to let those people know they can come. November 9th, Between Two Poles over at Michael's Men's Gentlemen's Club. We got You Look Like Roast Battle. We are bringing November 15th to Rally Cap in Baton Rouge. That's going to be fun. Me and Will's going to co-host that. And then that kind of closing out November, we've got lovely Anthony DeVito. I got him for a 3-night run. We're going to do a Thursday, the 21st, the Manship in Baton Rouge. Then we're going to pop over to New Orleans for the 22nd. And then I think we're doing it at the Dirty Coast store. So they did a Don't Tell show there with Sean Patton. They put Sean Patton's signature shirt, the Scuttlebutt thing out, and so we're going to do a show there.
That's awesome.
And then on the 23rd, which is that Saturday, we're going to be here at the Club 237. Then me and DeVito are going to Austin that Sunday. He's got a show going up, and then I'm going to hang out with our buddy Kyle Kinane at the Mothership. He is headlining that weekend.
Name dropping, bro.
Yes.
Are you wearing his jacket right now?
I am. Wearing
you are wearing a Kyle Kinane jacket.
And then at the end of the month, which is coming up, there's 4 tickets left, but you didn't hear it from us. I don't. It may be sold out. But Sunday, December 1st, Mark Norman at Sports Drink. 2 shows, 60 tickets per show. As of today, there was 4 tickets left for the second one. And he's also the night before.
You're on that show?
Yes. The night before, he is at the Orpheum Theater in New Orleans, so still tickets for that.
Are you on the Orpheum show?
I can't say yet.
Oh, my fuck.
We're not going to say this guy. Yeah.
Why would you announce it if you're not on it?
I'm not saying anything yet. It's me and a little guy named Bill Cosby.
Guess we'll see. Oh, that's why you can't say
Yeah, that's why I can't say You can follow me at the JP Leonard on everything and the .com and Lafayette Comedy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're
Smash it.
Jam it,
Jab it.
poke it, and then Lafayette Comedy and all the socials. We got some guests coming up. Yeah, we got to figure out who's going to be on the guests. We'll probably get some others. I don't know. Yeah. We'll have some good times. So.
Yeah. Also, every Tuesday in Lafayette, if you like live comedy or you're even interested in seeing live comedy, an open mic is one of the best ways to take it in. It is crazy. It is insane. You're going to see comedians of all ilk, and we run one of the best ones, and it is at Cité des Arts every Tuesday. Me and John Merrifield.
And every
comedy.
Sunday at the Green Room downtown.
Comedy Industrial Complex.
Yeah, Comedy Industrial Complex. Thank you, because I couldn't.
Yep.
I was like, it's like 7 words. I can't
Charles
remember.
Thomas Vadrine, Raven, and Brock White Lions put that one on, and I haven't been yet, but as soon as soccer season's over, that first weekend, I'm planning on
Free
going.
show, fun time, and good drinks.
Yeah, great people too.
That's it. We're done.
Wrap it up.
Hope you like the new background. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll see how it comes out.
We're gonna take this.
I don't mind it.
We should do this live at a Popeyes.
Why Popeyes?
And then we're gonna because I like Popeyes and I've been craving chicken, and then we can go to a different venue. Maybe we can do this at Mel's.
Ooh,
Be fun.
All
We just
right.
take this on the road. If you got a business, you want us to do a podcast.
If you got a comedy festival you want us to come do it at.
Actually, we're going to have a new sponsor, and we're probably going to record an episode over there.
Oh, that's a great. You know what? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Get ready. All right, bye.